Hello.
Hi.
How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. Thanks for willing to do this.
Hey, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
So I could just jump around then before getting to Fire Emblem with your career so far.
This is my first yes, I've played it on Smash Brothers many, many times, but this is my first foray into the main series or the mobile series, I should say.
So in terms of voiceover, was your first character part in the Family Guy game?
So you've done your research. Okay, I can respect that.
Yeah.
Um yeah, Yeah, He-Man, the voice match to John Alvin was my first ever character role. Yes, and I also did Doctor Doom as like a James Earl Jones sounded like in the same game, and that
Mhm.
was like my first major role, I guess.
And was it more voice acting that you wanted to always pursue, or just acting in general?
Well, I collected my first paycheck in 2014, so I said I was a voice actor for about 7 years after that until the pandemic hit. I was laid off of my job, sadly, and I was given the chance, though, to finally pursue voice acting with some semblance of full time.
Mm.
And I finally realized I gotta act. You gotta learn how to act. And yeah, I found a teacher named Keeble Walker.
Yep.
Great guy. Yep, you might have heard of him. He is an excellent teacher, and he runs these excellent workshops where people with not a lot of acting experience can kind of get their feet wet a little bit with different acting methodologies and techniques, character immersion, the whole nine yards. And maybe sometime in the middle of February, I took one of his character creation workshops, and 1 week later, I didn't know at the time, but it was for this Fire Emblem thing, and it was a very well timed character workshop.
Mhm. Are
And
you
here we are now.
yeah. Are you planning to move to LA at some point?
I live close to New York, so maybe like a New York style thing. LA is just too much of a it's too much dog eat dog.
Hmm.
Just it's too tough for me. But at some point I hope to make like a move to New York or Texas, like any actor. But I'm content with where I am right now.
Okay.
Mhm.
I know you got to be involved in the Dragon Ball Absalon series too.
Yes, yes, Dragon Ball Absalon. That was fun. There's a lot of different voice actors, fan voice actors who are a part of that. That allowed me to collab with I think his name is Devil Artemis, and he does a lot of like cell parodies and stuff like that. He voices a character in that too, which is kind of interesting. That's a real fun series, but now with Super's going like God this and
Mm.
angels and fan stuff almost isn't like fun anymore because they've taken the canon itself has gone
Mhm.
so insane.
Looks like it would have been around that same time with the Marvel Avengers Academy.
Yep. So when Thor Ragnarok was coming out, I think that was November of 2018, something like that. And it came through a P2P website. So it was an open casting call to anyone who had, I think it was voices. I don't know what it was at the time. Oh yeah, when the movie came out, they had a DLC coming out, and it's funny because we didn't know at the time that Korg was going to be played by the director. So
Oh,
this, it's funny. My sound alike for Korg, I was told to do the very stereotypical deep voice, sort of thing that's associated with a character like that. And in the movie, he sounds nothing like me.
yeah.
So I haven't been called back to do any sort of Marvel work since. They recasted.
Mhm.
They recasted with someone who sounds much more like the in movie character.
Mhm.
But it's fun because I can kind of say I did I did voice work for Marvel, and as limited of a capacity as it was.
Yeah. So then I know you mentioned that Fire Emblem started getting you doing that workshop first, and then how long after that did you get the audition?
So the workshop was I think first or second week of February, and then the audition was the very soon after that. So I'd say second or third week of February. And I didn't see a character of what Murum was supposed to. I didn't know it was him. I didn't know the franchise. The keywords were just loner, protective, kind of aloof, kind of serious, and I sort of just settled on the on if you've heard the voice clips or have seen anything on YouTube, the sort of lower, softer tone is what we settled on, and then the were tiger transformation was very, very intense. Um, and that was pretty taxing on my vocal cords a little bit, but hey, it was a chance to be a part of Fire Emblem. So you do whatever they ask you.
Yeah. And having interviewed Caitlin Gault as well, what was your experience being directed by her?
Excellent. You know, the people at the top, they know how to coach great performances out of great talents. And wait, have you worked with her in the yourself?
I've just interviewed her.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Having a great, but still, it's an excellent connection to have. Having a a person like her, and I forgot the name of her too. She had two producers or
Okay.
directors with her, and I forgot their names. But this was right when the Batman came out, right? So all the producers showed up on Zoom as like a way to break the ice. They weren't their actual names. They went with Batman characters.
Oh,
And so as a guy who, like I said, I didn't know it was Fire Emblem until the actual date of the session. They're very and I think I should be okay with saying this. I don't think they'll care or anything. But they have to be secretive about it. And that makes sense. I think Fire Emblem Heroes, my buddy was telling me, it generates a lot of revenue. A
yeah.
lot of revenue. Yeah. So that information you got to be secretive about.
I do think it's especially cool that
Mhm.
Marum's first appearance is obviously the fallen version of him.
Yes. So can you tell me a little more about that? I've never so I like I said, I've done Smash Brothers, right? And I know the lore for Crom and Ike, and that's it. So tell me a little bit about Murum.
Well, for started, the fallen versions of characters are always just when evil possesses them in some way, and
Okay.
the way that it happened to Murum was the genealogy. Maybe you were told later
A
on.
little bit. Like I
Yeah,
said, a little bit.
I think he was given like a potion that made him turn that way, and then he was brought out of it by I forget the name of the
Mhm.
type of people, like the wolf people sang a song to help him come out of it, and then that was what made him go
Mm.
back to normal.
Gotcha. Gotcha. It seems he seems to have a lot of power. You know,
Yeah.
this is a very unique you know, he can transform into a beast. I've seen some things on Reddit and YouTube saying he is projected to be very strong. I know he's not out, at least at the time of this recording, he's not out yet. So we have no, I know because I used to play Heroes of the Storm. Whenever a new character came out on the MOBA, we always said, "Oh, he's going to be super OP." They're never OP.
Yeah.
But maybe Fire Emblem Heroes is a little easier to predict.
Hmm. How could you personally relate to his character at all?
The fact that it seems at the end of the day, he just wants to make sure his children are protected, and he just wants to be he wants things to stay quiet. He wants things to be peaceful. And so me, at the end of the day, I want, I'm most content knowing that my bed's waiting for me at the end of the day. He's just trying to get people through the day, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to get his loved ones and himself to the end of that day. And I guess if it means becoming a werewolf tiger creature for evil with the expectation that maybe someone will help him see the light of day himself at the end of it, he's willing to make that sacrifice. Because I can't say that I'm not an 8 foot tall, super powered were beast. I'm quite the opposite, actually. But he's still a lot of fun, and I'm hoping if he ever returns, I'll be happy to come back for him.
Were there any single favorite lines that you had?
The growls were really fun. But for spoken lines, it's got to be for the child, because everything is for the child. So when he transforms, when you see it in the game, when he transforms, that's his battle cry, for the child, before he ultimately succumbs to the transformation. It's like his last trait of thought. So that means a lot, because it's the thing that he holds on to until he's out of the corrupted state.
And with how of course non-verbal most of the lines are, was that did it take a while to get those nailed down?
After the first couple takes, we settled into a pretty strong rhythm with it. I'd say the biggest the hardest was the you only have 2 seconds to vocalize your yells, so it's getting those really feral yells within the 2 seconds, because I wanted to go further with them, and I really wanted to push it. They said, no, 2 seconds, that's all you got. I said, okay, I'll roll with it.
Yeah, I can say too, and it's the same as the general consensus for all the fan base comments so far, that your acting as him is some of the best I've heard in the game so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I appreciate that. Thank you. That just made my day. Shit.
Yeah.
Because I love voice acting, and I've done this. I've done a thing for Elite Dangerous, and I've done spots here and there, but it's still not yet my full-time job. So hearing that means a lot. I'm hoping to make it my full-time job at some point.
Okay.
But hearing that from you, that means a lot.
Well, yeah, because I know there's that specific YouTube channel that always posts the voice lines of all the new characters when they come out. Like, first clicking on that, just the first things I heard of your takes, that's just chilling.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And Murum, this is my Murum voice. He appreciates it too.
Yeah.
So my buddy said he appears in Radiant Dawn, correct?
Yeah.
And he's not corrupted in that game.
No.
He's just a hero.
Yeah.
Okay. He's one of like Ike's heroes, right? He's like an ally to him. Okay. I have downloaded it, and I haven't started playing it yet. But I will start, because I got to get me. He's like my first original. I don't want to say original because he's been around for so long, but he's like my first actual character.
Yeah.
So I need him in my pocket with me at all times.
Well, it is really cool because you're the second. There's only two. It's you and someone else, or they're the only two voice actors who are not in California or Texas that are part of the game now. So
really?
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
Joe Mucciolo. He just got released. His character just got released the other week too.
Really? So Joe, I'm gonna have to do some research into that because I've seen the cast and it's a quite a cast for a mobile video game. So I'm gonna have to look that up, Jam. Because I'm based out of Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's still fairly metropolitan, but it's not that Texas, New York,
Right.
LA like hotbed that most dubbing actors where they're from right now.
Mhm.
And I truly do believe that you don't necessarily look if you want to make a living out of it, then yes, you have to. Or and if you truly want to make a full time, then yes, you have to live out there. But if you want to slowly build your career before you make that big move, you can. If you have the right training, if you have the right people in your corner, you can make something tangible out of it without living in the big city.
Mhm.
It's hard and it takes time, but you can do it.
Mhm. Well, that is a new thing too with Heroes as well. That a lot of the recent released characters are people that kind of like in your situation where
Right.
it's their first big character in voiceover.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm very thankful for the people. It's an amazing staff they've got there at Cup of Tea Productions. And the fact that they're willing to sort of roll the dice on more unproven talent because there is a risk. And we love to say sub is always superior, and I'll fully admit, as someone who works in the dubbing industry, without the subs, there's nothing to base the dub performance off of. So you can't have one without the other. And whoever the subbed actor is, I forgot his name. I like to think he and I were kind of in the same ballpark for the spoken lines,
Yeah.
but I'll give him credit. His grunts were a bit more feral. And I think if I had heard him beforehand, because we recorded at the same time, obviously not together, but it wasn't a case where the sub happened first. The original performance was first, and I just overdubbed it. It's dubbed. I think they're recorded simultaneously.
Yep.
And that I guess that makes sense for the video game. But anyway, if you're a voice director and you are say something like Fire Emblem Heroes or something even bigger like Demon Slayer, I don't know if I'm 100% comfortable going with a main Demon Slayer character if I'm going to roll the dice on a new guy. I'm sadly, I don't know if I'm going to do that. But for Fire Emblem Heroes, it's an excellent start, I believe.
Yeah.
And I hope someone sees it, but that's for another day. But so whenever someone interviews me, I love knowing more. I love knowing about the people too. So you moderate the subreddit?
Yeah, I help the Heroes subreddit specifically. I've been doing interviews in general since July 2020, but
Nice.
I've been doing interviews correlated to the Heroes subreddit specifically for I don't know, like maybe 6 months now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. I also noticed your own speaking voice ain't bad. Do you
Oh,
do you do your own VO, or is the interview stuff sort of like your passion, if that makes sense?
yeah, I did pursue it when I got out of high school, where I am in the Minneapolis area. But ever since I started doing interviews with voice actors, that kind of took the front seat for me.
Well, we certainly appreciate
Hmm.
it. Because any sort of avenue to help tell our story, while hopefully simultaneously telling yours, we love it. We love it. So who is the biggest actor you've recorded or you've interviewed?
Probably Leah Thompson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Because I also saw Kanji Tang,
Yeah.
the guy who did Gojo, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I prepped a little bit myself to listen because
Okay.
I did radio. I did radio. When I was I'm 27 now.
Okay.
So I graduated in 2017, but I had a college show where I went to college, and we did I did sports, we did a little bit of everything, pop culture, whatever. So it was a fun time. That was before He-Man or Fox. I did anything with Fox Digital or any of
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a funny, it's kind of like a funny behind the scenes story. When they were doing that He-Man, that Geico commercial years and years ago, they saw my performance in the Family Guy thing. And I was working at Best Buy at the time. And I had spent my entire day talking to customers and really just sort of throwing out my speaking voice a little bit, because when you're on the sales floor, you have to constantly be talking to people. And at the end of the day, my voice was fried.
Mhm.
So when I got the audition script, He-Man is he's very high,
Right.
very booming, while at the same time being sort of booming. So I couldn't get into the tone like convincingly enough, and they ultimately went with someone else. And that was the last time I've ever had the chance to like audition for something as big as, say, like a character like He-Man again.
Mhm.
Um, and what they did with him in the Netflix series, I thought, whoever that, it's some Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Chris Pine. He is a great modern He-Man, and I just hope they give him more material
Mhm.
than what Netflix gave him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tough.
You might have heard this before, but
Mhm.
I definitely think that you're vocally like you're in the same archetype as like Patrick Seitz, Matthew Mercer, people like that.
Well, dude, you're buttering me up. Those guys, and it means a lot because those guys are huge. Every guy with a low voice who gets into this industry at some point is probably going to YouTube Matt Mercer demo reel, right?
Yeah.
I'm guilty. I've done it, and I know guys who sound nothing like Matt Mercer at all. Also, like have him on a speed dial a little bit his demo reel because it's such a popular archetype.
Mhm.
So for you to say that does mean a lot.
Mhm. Well, it does based off your a lot of your YouTube videos. It seems like you're pretty adept at matching people, certain people.
Mm-hmm. I love doing James Earl Jones, Morgan Freeman, Gandalf, Liam Neeson. Those are all very fun. It goes back to having that support system because growing up, I was a very kind of a quirky kid. So I would imitate the cartoon character. It's like every voice actor, you imitate the cartoon characters. And, my parents could have said, you're not going to make any money off of that. I could have just, it could have ended there, but they encouraged it, or, you know, if I didn't have that, who knows where I would be right now.
Yeah.
But if you have that positive support system, that is what separates the people who can make it, or the people who will make it in 5 years or 10 years versus 15 or 20, because it's a tough industry if you can't, because you're going to be told no more than you're told yes. That's just a fact, sadly. And you're not going to be able to pull yourself out of it every time. Some people are good at it, some people are terrible at it, and most people fall somewhere in the middle. So if you can get someone in real life, not just like someone you can reach out to like on Discord, because hearing it in person saying you can do this, you can do it, as much as you start to believe it.
Yeah.
You really do. So that's my advice for anyone struggling who might be listening to this in the future. If you can find someone in externally to help you out, it's the biggest difference. It's what made the difference in my career.
Mhm. So is there anything else that's upcoming that you're part of that you can talk about?
As of right now, the Fire Emblem thing is I've been sort of sitting on for the last few months.
Okay.
So right now, no. I'm constantly auditioning, and I'm constantly on the lookout for the next big thing. all I can say is I hope people like, you know, what I did for this game, because when the moment I heard Fire Emblem, it was just like my little 12-year-old in me, Smash Brothers, all that. He's like it was just awesome. So
Mhm.
for now, I'm going to keep it nothing big on the horizon, but always keeping my fingers crossed.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I would. If you haven't already looked at it, I would definitely go look up the YouTube video with all of it, with all of your lines, and just read all the comments, because they're all just like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
I'll be sure to do that. And so he drops. Does he drop tomorrow morning?
I think, yeah,
I'm on because are you on Eastern or
I'm on Central.
Central? Okay.
Yeah.
So it was 11. I don't know. It'll be on by the end of the week. Do you have any more questions for me? Because I love talking about this. I've got nowhere to be.
Yeah. Well, my final question is always asking, what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy. Oh God, it's um if people ever just say, you know what, he had fun and I had fun working with him, with his characters, just I'm in it for the love of the game, and I hope that bleeds through into my performances. So just someone who had a fun time.
Okay. Well, thanks. I'm glad that we got to do this.
Awesome. And I am very happy too. So I can't wait. So do you have a Twitter or anything? I'd love to, if you ever need like a Murum. Actually, no, I think Nintendo. I think I might have signed away the rights to do, because that's a thing. Gotta be careful. Gotta be careful.
Mhm.
To if you ever do voiceover, or any future listeners, when you sign the paperwork, make sure you're not, well, they own the rights to the performance, right? So I can't, those few ad-libbed lines I did at the beginning, I'm sure that's fine, but I don't know if I could read like a full-on line in the character's voice. That's the only thing I think that's tricky.
Yeah.
I know some voice actors don't give a crap about it, but I know others like Sean Shamel and others are very protective of that kind of stuff. And
Right.
if there's one person you don't want to piss off in this industry, it's anyone at Funimation.
Yeah. Well, I'll be sure to send it to you once I have it up.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All righty.
Have a good rest of your night.
Will do. Have a good one. And thank you. I appreciate it.